Brother Ron, and welcome to We All Be News Radio and TV, the news-free Dixie for the 21st century. So much for having me here at Open Heart Spiritual Center. I want to thank you all for having open minds and hearts and ears to hear what I got to say. The words come out of my mouth. Thank Pastor John Gilmore for letting me feel at home with you all. And the words of Duke Ellington, we love you badly. So I'm here to talk about the Jazznocracy. Freedom of expression, freedom to be yourself, dare to be bold, live in your moment, own your truths, right? So the person I want to talk about, who's to me epitomizes that, is a brother named James Melvin Lunceford, and also known as Jimmie Lunceford. And this is the kickoff, this is the starting point of the 2019 Jimmie Lunceford Jamboree Festival. It's the third annual full-week festival that we're honoring a man who did more than just be a person or just to exist. He did things for other people. That's why he should live forever. Because when you do things for others, you become immortal. You know, they might forget your name, but energy never dies. So Jimmie Lunceford was the first high school band director of schools in the Memphis area for black children. He started at Manassas back in the 1920s. He volunteered to be a band director. He was hired to be about 7 to 8 different things, including football coach, anything but a music instructor. But he studied at Fisk University. He majored in social work. And he thought that music could be used as a way to inspire people, to build community, unity, and also serve as rites of passage for young boys and girls. So that's what he was doing at Manassas High back in the 20s. And by 1930, he took his best high school students. Before that, let me say that he formed the band, right? He got the community to raise money for music lessons and instruments and whatnot. He's considered to be the first person any place in the world to teach jazz studies in a formal educational setting. It's like you teaching hip-hop today in a college or a high school, whatever. He was doing that back in the 20s. This is a black dude who was born in Mississippi, raised in Denver, Colorado, very well educated, Fisk University, Columbia, all that stuff, right? So, they were a very popular dance band here in Memphis, known as the Chickasaw Syncopators. By 1930, he had the confidence to leave Memphis and take his best high school students and buddies from Fisk University, By 1934, he's the house band at the Cotton Club after Duke Ellington and Cab Calloway. Then he becomes the #1 attraction in the Apollo Theater for a whole decade. This is the Apollo Theater. And he's the #1 dance band of choice for black people in America. They nicknamed him the Harlem Express. So he's more popular and more in demand than Duke Ellington, Cab Calloway, Count Basie, all those guys. And also he's known as the king of the battle of dance. You know, you have these things where you have face-offs at the Savoy and places like that. We have the best bands of the day, black or white, play against each other. And he would constantly win these battles because he had a distinctive sound. That's a Memphis thing. It's this 2-beat sound he had. You could hear it, you know, Stacks or whatever, high, even 3 6 Mafia. You hear all that distinctive music flavor from Memphis. He had that. So, why he should be remembered? When he used to come to Memphis back in the 30s and 40s, sell out crowds at church auditorium, he would always go back to Manassas High School, give free musician workshops for the kids in the band, the Rhythm Bombers, do free concerts. Matter of fact, he did this throughout the country. He would go around the country, start a music education program to keep kids out of trouble, to build their confidence, to have them a sense of accountability and discipline. It was a rites of passage for him. And what I also love about him, he didn't forget about the old folks, because around the time he died, he was looking for real estate to buy to start a retirement community for black musicians. This is all the stuff he's doing. And on top of that, he was an aviation pioneer. Not just he took flight in his music, but he took flight in an airplane. 1939, he took his first plane lessons. 1940, he bought his first airplane, which would be to, I guess, the equivalency of $500,000 today. So this is during the Great Depression that this guy had this type of walk around money to buy a plane. Not only buy planes, but to fly the planes to his gigs, right? Then he had a woman, a beautiful sister named Crystal Tully, who taught English at Booker T. Washington High School. She flew planes as well too. So there's a lot of stuff I'm leaving out about Jimmie Lunceford because like he's better than a superhero movie. He actually existed. I mean, this guy was tall, dark, and handsome. He was very athletic, well-rounded, and was a music prodigy. And very articulate. He didn't swear, he didn't cuss or all that. He didn't smoke or drink. He was a teetotaler. So this guy believed in having a positive self-image and all that stuff. And the reason why I know these things because I had the chance to talk to people that actually went to school back then, like Catherine Perry Thomas, gymnastics class at 32. Her brother, Andrew Perry, played for his high school band and turned pro with him. He was a saxophonist. Talked to Gerald Wilson, who passed away back in 2014. He would have been 100 years old last year. He actually with the monastics after Jimmie left, finished up at Cass Tech High School up in Detroit, famous Cass Tech High School. So, what's weird about what happened to Jimmie, back in 1947, July 12th, he was scheduled to do a gig up in Seaside, Oregon. Now, if you don't know about Oregon, that Oregon was a state, it's the only state in the Union that had in its constitution that black folks cannot live, work, or own property there. It became a state in 1859. Y'all know what happened in 1859, right? October 16th? John Brown's raid on Harper Ferry in what is now known as West Virginia. So this is what happened in 1859, Oregon. This is not Mississippi. This is not Alabama. This is Oregon, Pacific Northwest, saying that black folks cannot own, work, or live in Oregon. So he was in that environment, and allegedly what happened, he was at Seaside, Oregon. They was at a restaurant where they were refused service. That's how the story goes. And he demanded that they be served hamburgers. Then the waitress and the owner said, we don't have no hamburgers, but you got roast beef. This is before Arby's. Arby's wasn't invented until 1964. So they had the wrong types of meat. You know, they had the right meat. So there he was at the music shop next to the concert hall he was going to perform at, signing autographs. He all of a sudden dropped dead. Now, people think he was poisoned. Some people think it was just a heart attack. Who knows? But think about it. You know, if he like, you go to a place like Oregon and you a black dude that got your own airplane, and you flying into Oregon, you know, they're like, oh, who is this dude? Like driving you know, like you get stopped over by police driving a nice foreign car, right? It's equivalent, same, so who knows? But he thought enough of Memphis to be buried here. You know, he could be buried anywhere, but he thought Memphis was a great place to be buried. So he had 2 funerals up in New York, you know, Sammy Davis Jr., Bojangles, all the Hollywood or Black Hollywood entertainment folks came out for that. He had one in Memphis, about 5,000 people, black and white. He had a lot of fans of white. They love Jimmie Lunceford. I talked to a woman yesterday who runs a radio station here. Her mom was a big Jimmie Lunceford fan. She's from the Appalachia, you know, she used to, come when he came to Memphis in the 30s, go to his concerts and dance. So he's buried here. And I want to read something Nat D. Williams said I thought was very interesting. Nat D. Williams was a historian, radio pioneer, he used to teach at Booker T. Washington for a number of years. He said, Jimmie Lunceford was buried here in Memphis. The spot he occupies should have something of a special significance. He took a group of relatively unsophisticated Memphis colored boys and whittled them into an organization which scaled the heights of musical eminence. He presented something new in the way of musical presentation by Negro orchestras. Lunceford and many others like him chose to remain at home and with their people. His death should have meaning and inspiration and guidance to others. If we permit it, Lunceford's burial in Memphis can mean this. So this is where I come in. I'm the silly fool. You know, I'm gonna tell you something. Dr. King said something very proud. He said, human salvation lies in the hands of the creatively maladjusted. I'm very maladjusted. I cannot get used to a system that don't treat me as a human being. That's insane. When a system does not respect your humanity, and you tell your people to respect a system that does not respect you as a person, as a spirit, as a child of God, you insane a little bit. You gotta be a little dark, right? So I'm creatively maladjusted. I refuse to get along with the program. I refuse to play in tune to an out-of-tune system. You understand what I'm saying? So I didn't think I would be the one to do this because this has been like a journey for me. We actually, when I was in college 20 years ago, my mom moved to a street called Lunceford. You know what I'm saying? When I was in college, I got into jazz. I thought jazz was like sophisticated white people stuff. Like how they package it on commercials and stuff, like some beatnik stuff like that. Then realize it came from people that like me, that went through slavery and stuff like that, that came out the plantations and whatnot. And so every time I started researching the jazz, I started figuring everything keep on coming back to Memphis. You know, Lunceford, you know, think about Louis Armstrong. His wife that made him a superstar was from Memphis, Lil Hart Armstrong. She was the piano player for his mentor in Chicago, King Oliver. And she saw his petition. She didn't care for him because he was a country looking dude. He had bangs, he had typos, and he wasn't little, okay? You know, he was a big dude, and he said, hey, this boy ain't on. And her favorite trumpet player was a guy named Freddie Kepler from New Orleans. He was a really classy, cool cat. But King Oliver told him one day, he said, you know what, Lil? Lou will never be a superstar because he don't believe in himself. He's better trumpet player than I am, but he don't have the confidence to step out and just be himself. I shot her wheels and, oh my, who's this guy? Oh, this is to him again. So she had to listen to him in the recording sessions. He was so loud and commanding, they just put him like 20 feet away from the recording equipment. He was so loud. And so they just dominate trumpet. So what she did was she forced him to fire himself from King Oliver's band. Changed his clothes, upgraded him, got rid of his bangs, married him, sent him to New York to play for the greatest jazz band in the land, Fletcher Henderson, at the Roseland Ballroom. That's the place where Lady Gaga closed down a couple years ago. But he played the Roseland Ballroom, changed the game. She said, okay, Louis, you ready now? Come on back to Chicago. I got you a good setup at the Dreamland Cafe. So when he came back to Chicago, she had this big banner saying, the world's greatest trumpet player. And so he said, okay, Lou, wait a minute now. Let me teach you how to copyright your songs, and we do arrangements and all that stuff. He had a great woman that believed in him, taught him how to copyright his music, helped set up his most important recordings, the High 5 and High 7. This is the birthplace of modern American music. Those recording sessions is the birthplace. She arranged, helped write, helped play piano, sang. She was one of the most competent women in jazz. Because this was a man-dominated field. This was this woman from Memphis that really was holding her own with these guys and basically discovered the most important musician in that genre, one of the most important musicians of all time from our country. And so, to make that short, to wrap it up, every time Louis Armstrong was going to go to the next, was going to level up, y'all call it leveling it up, right? He all ran to some Memphis people. Like when he was in Chicago, it was this place called the Vendome Theater, a very popular place. The orchestra leader was Erskine Taylor. Guess where he was from? He was from Memphis. He played with Dusty Handy. And another thing, Dusty Handy keep on coming up, right? When we go to New York, when Lil sitting in New York, for Fletcher Henderson, the best trumpet player was a guy named Johnny Dunn. The best jazz trumpet player in New York was Johnny Dunn, and guess where he's from? And who he played for? W.C. Handy. So he keep on reading this guy, even when he was in Fletcher Henderson band, one of the best clarinetists in jazz history of the early jazz was a cat named Buster Billy. Where you from, you think? And who he played for? W.C. Handy. So he kept on running to these cats from Memphis that upgraded his game. So we also, speaking of which, we're honoring Lil Harvey Armstrong. We have 6 musicians we're honoring. We have a homecoming court that was developed by my mom, Sister Callie Hurd. She came up with this idea of a homecoming court to honor unsung Memphis musicians. So she's our posthumous queen. Our posthumous king is Johnny Ace, the late great Johnny Ace. I ain't gonna get y'all, but know that Johnny Ace was amazing. That I talked to Bobby Blue Bland, they was in the same group called the Bill Streeters. And the reason why Johnny Ace got the break was because Bobby Blue Bland could not read music. He could not read at all, he was functional illiterate. So Dave Mattis, who worked at WDI, he was a sound engineer at WDI. WDI, by the way, was the first all-black radio program format in the country. So we invented black radio here in Memphis. You understand that? That's a year after Jimmie Lunceford died in 1948. So Dave Mattis said, okay, Bobby Blue, they can't read. Okay, Johnny, John Marshall Alexander Jr., you want to read this? He said, yeah, I'll read it. My son, 2 years running, he was the #1 black male singer in the country. But he was at the Bill Streeters. Bill Streeters had B.B. King, Roscoe Gordon, Junior Parker, Earl Forrest. When I saw Bobby Blue Bland, I said, man, you're like a Wu-Tang of blues. You looking like all crazy. I mean, Wu-Tang was like the Bill Streeters of hip-hop. I said, yeah, right. This is a year before he died. But he sung Johnny Ace's praise. He said he was a fine singer. He was a great singer. You should listen to Johnny Ace and check him out. But unfortunately, he died young at the age of 25. He was playing with his gun in the backstage of a concert in Houston during Christmas. He was playing around, he liked to point his gun and, just play around with it, when they're on the road, shoot at signs and whatnot. People gotta understand, one-nighters back then, if you're doing one-nighters, sometimes you had to do a gig and drive several hundred miles to the next gig. So your body was worn out. Your mind, you be just doing crazy stuff. So he was playing around with his gun, he had his girlfriend on his lap, Olivia Gibbs. He was married, by the way, to his high school sweetheart, but he had his girlfriend on his lap, backstage, playing with the gun, pointing at her, everybody scared. And Big Mama Thornton, I know who Big Mama Thornton was, right? You ain't nothing but a hound dog, the one who sung it before Elvis, right? He said, Johnny, stop playing with that gun. You gonna hurt somebody, Johnny. That they said that Big Mama took the gun from him and gave it back. And Johnny thought the gun was empty. Cause you know, he was pointing at me, what do you think they would go off? He said, oh, yeah, man, it's empty. And then he shot himself in the head. He's just 25 years old, you know. This is on Christmas night, 1954. January 2nd, 1955, they had his funeral at Claiborne Temple. You know, B.B. King was one of the pallbearers. Bill Street's pallbearers. What's significant about Johnny Ace is that the fact that if you look at the movie Cadillac Records, they show how, or even the five heartbeats, how a lot of times they try to get the right musicians to get the popular black musician song, like, you know, Little Richard and Pat Boone, with Tutti Frutti and whatnot. Well, Johnny Ace was a black dude that sounded white. He had a crooner's type of style of approach to music. So his biggest hit came out, he died, called Touching My Love. And they couldn't, they couldn't get the white people to give a better version of that song. And so that song you hear in that Christine, I believe, the car movie by Stephen King, Bad Lieutenant, Harvey Cartel's a Bad Lieutenant movie. It's been played a lot throughout the years. And also that was Elvis's last song that he recorded, Pledge My Love. So you think about when Johnny Ace is on his way out, Elvis on his rise. Johnny Ace grew up in South Memphis in a home. Elvis grew up in North Memphis in the projects. You know what I'm saying? So they switch it around. Elvis sound black, Johnny sound white, right? So we want to honor him. And as a matter of fact, Johnny Ace's granddaughter's legacy, the neo soul singer. That's her grandfather. I think, you know, Olivia Gill was grandmother, but we still looking into that. You know, so this shows how tight our history is. Like everything runs through Memphis. So we honor him, of course, our living queen and king, Carla Thomas. I know she's the queen of Memphis Soul as far as I'm concerned, you know, helped save Stax, you know what I'm saying? Sidney Kirk, you know, the great piano man for Isaac Hayes' movement. We honor him. We're going to give people their flowers while they're here, too. And also, we was going to honor Phil Jordan Jr., too. He agreed to my mom that he'll be our homecoming prince, and he passed away, unfortunately. But we're still going to honor him through these, you know, thank y'all for opening our doors in the spirit of Phil for letting me talk. I know I talk a lot, I'm sorry. But we're going to honor him as well as Deborah Gleese Barnes, who was a Rayette. And she comes from a very powerful gospel family as herself. So I got a couple of flyers, but we started out today here. Monday will be at Manassas High School. They really have a problem to keep their music program running. Just work with them on the last several years. They have a high turnover in principals and band directors. You know, they can't keep a band director past 1 or 2 years. They can't keep a principal past 1 or 2 years. And you know, our kids, you know what I'm saying, I don't know if they got a home to go to after school, because a lot of them hang around the school because they got no place to go. So you facing that instability and lack of continuity at school, and you got a lack of structure at home, or you got no home, what do you do? So this speaks of Jimmie Lunceford starting something as a way to build community, to build confidence, to keep people out of trouble. So they got a young woman there, she's in her early 20s, just graduated from the University of Memphis, went to Central High School, the Central High School as they call it. And she's eager to embrace this legacy that was started by Mr. Lunceford. People don't realize that a lot of the early band directors at these schools came out of his class at Manassas. Now people face like Douglas and Miro and stuff like that. And not only that is the fact that, I know y'all love Miles Davis, I know who Miles Davis is. Miles Davis took it, time out his autobiography. He got dedicated 1 page. He said, back in the 60s, I kept all these guys from Memphis come through. These Memphis kids, Earl Mayburn, George Coleman, Charles Coleman, all these guys, what they doing down at school? He said, what they doing at that school? Miles Davis' hero was Jimmie Lunceford growing up. He wrote about it early in his book, how he used to listen to Jimmie Lunceford on the radio broadcast live from Cotton Club. So Miles said, what they doing at this one school? And then when you talking about George Coleman, Booker Little, Harold Mayburn, they came out, Harold Mayburn just passed September 17th, by the way. They all came out in the 50s. And the band director at Manassas was Matthew Garrett, very talented horn and director. And guess who he's the father of? D.D. Bridgewater. He came out to Lunceford. This is back in the 50s. Jimmie Lunceford dead. If he's the father of Jimmie Lunceford, I'm talking about saying. But that's not a new worship religion. But he's the father of D.D. Bridgewater. She was born here in Memphis. She was raised in Michigan, but she was born here. That's the father. Then you got Arthur Lee, one of the great rock musicians from Love. He formed Love, one of the very influential band. He's not from California. He's from North Memphis. His mom was a teacher here. His daddy was from Manassas, played for Jimmie Lunceford, Cornette. So you got all this stuff to run through Memphis. Matter of fact, Jimi Hendrix's best friend, widow, lives right by Stax, Larry Lee. That was his best friend. Larry Lee went to Hampton High School, was a talented baseball player, also wrote some stuff for Stax. got a full ride to Tennessee State, playing baseball. He met Jimi Hendrix in Nashville. Jimi Hendrix was a Screaming Eagle, 101st Airborne. Jumping out of airplanes and stuff, Uncle Sam. You know what I'm saying? But he got this charge. I can't imagine Jimi Hendrix being no soldier though, but okay. But they meet in Nashville, right? Oh, you play guitar? I play guitar. Oh, that's good. So they playing backup at the New Era Club. He had a lot of great clubs back in the day in Nashville. It's a music city like we are. So they play New Era, so they playing backup for like Aretha Franklin come in, Curtis Mayfield and Impressions will come in. Then Larry Lee was called to service in Vietnam. He answered the call of Uncle Sam in Vietnam. But before he left, Jimi Hendrix, he gave Jimi Hendrix his winter coat. So Larry Lee went to Vietnam, Jimmy went to New York. But Jimi Hendrix played for everybody. He played background for Sam Cooke, Jackie Wilson, the Isley Brothers, Little Rich had to kick him out. You put too much attention to yourself. Woo! Big gone. You know what I'm saying? Little Rich was woo! He want him out if he was getting too much attention, right? So Jimmy goes to New York. He almost was signed by Les Paul, the great guitar innovator. He saw him at a club in the Greenwich Village. But he had to do something. He said, I'm gonna come back. He heard this guy, he was incredible. But when he came back to the club, the manager said he was a crappy guy, we had to get rid of him. So Jimi Hendrix was homeless for 6 weeks in New York. And the only thing that kept him warm, or halfway warm, was Larry Lee's winter jacket. So when Larry Lee came back from Vietnam with metal plate in his head, he got a call from Jimmy and said, hey, Larry, what you doing now? He said, Jimmy, I just came back, man. He said, well, when you play Woodstock with me? And then he played Woodstock with Jimi Hendrix. You can listen to Larry Lee lead on Mastermind, Gypsy Woman, a couple songs at Woodstock. So he was on lead with Jimmy playing behind him. And he was there a couple of days before Jimmy died. And he had some things to say about that, the situation surrounding Jimmy's death. It's not what people think it is. But I'm going to shut up now. I think I've talked enough. If you have any more questions or whatever for me, let me know. But I got some flyers and I also got my contact information. But I'm open, it's like 7 days worth of events. It's free and open to the public. We want to encourage Memphis musicians to come out. Like on Thursday, we're doing a thing called Lunching with Lunceford. From 2 to 3:15 at Elmwood Cemetery. Well, I'm just at his grave, and we can play, we can eat food. I like eating in the cemetery. I'm a weird dude. I like going to cemeteries. Now I'll travel across the country to the cemetery and just eat lunch there. That's what I like to do, one of my things. I know it's like the circle of life thing. But anyway, we're going to do, expression. All creatives are welcome. Just want to eat lunch or talk. Saturday is the big thing, the homecoming court reception at Greater Abyssinia Church at Mill Branch from 6 to 9 p.m. And we're going to help Paula Thomas, all those people out to honor them and help them express themselves as well as some of their family members. We might have some light refreshments, like, maybe some fruit cups or something. We have something for y'all. They ain't going to be starving. We have a little bit, but that's from 6 to 9. But like I said, this needs to be started. And when people don't understand that those festivals that y'all see celebrated from Memphis, like Bill Street and Memphis and Maine barbecue, that was started by grassroots folks. They was started by black people in the community. They started these stuff. I met people, Mr. A.L.L, who was influenced by Mr. Lunceford. When he was a rhythm bum in Manassas, Jimmie would come and bring his band, and Mr. A.L. was mesmerized by Jimmie Lunceford's tenor saxophonist, Joe Thomas. He was a great tenor saxophonist. So Mr. A.L. kind of followed in Jimmie Lunceford's footsteps, ended up becoming band director at Manassas, kicked Isaac Hayes out the high school band, working for Isaac Hayes, in the Isaac Hayes movement at Stax. Co-founder of the Southern Heritage Classic. He actually helped co-found that with Fred Jones in his living room. He designed the original logo for it. He had the connection because he was a college and high school band director for a number of years. And he was a Tennessee State alum, So like he passed me, I feel like he passed me the baton to continue the Jimmie Lunceford work. He was very much an advocate of getting Jimmie recognized in the city. Yes.
I just want to say this. I told Bill about being the prince because he was always humble and stuff. He said, sure, what do I need to do? I said, just be you. But what I'm telling you, because he can't be there, and I heard how that interview was at the funeral, is that maybe one of y'all can come and speak on his behalf because his wife was out of town.
Yeah.
And we had to ordain him through Christ. We had the blessing of it from your church. So we want to let you know that this is not a moment, it's a movement. And it's time for us to give honor to the elders. Because Colin Thomas coming there, I talked to her for an hour.
It's hard to be called.
And I listened to her story and stuff. I listened to her, and I think that we should stop forgetting our elders, period. We got to give honor to them. It ain't no sense to go to a funeral and give all the flowers when we tell them in front of their face. And she will be so happy. Colin Thomas she loves movies, and if you want to see her at the movie on Tuesday night, she's going to be there. But let us start giving honor to people while they're living. And I hope y'all can be a blessing because Phil wants y'all there. Thanks a lot.
Thank y'all. That's the end. I appreciate y'all for giving y'all. I know I'm long-winded and stuff like that, but if you want more information, I got some flyers and I got contact information. I'm very accessible. Thank you, Pastor. Thank you.